Hello everyone, this is Richard Tan and I would like to welcome you all in this discussion for the DevC 208 course. For this discussion, we will be talking about Module 1, Discovering a Social Problem and How Do Social Problems Emerge on the Public Radar Screen. This topic builds on top of the definition and nature of a social problem, which was discussed by one of my co-members in the group, and I highly suggest that you go through them first in the UPOU My portal before proceeding with this discussion. As an introduction for our topic, we will be mainly using the book Social Marketing in the 21st Century by Andreasen. And in the book, he named 8 common ways on the discovery of social problem. We will go through 4 of them, and before the end of this topic, we will also look at other ways on how the public can realize a social problem and say that it needs attention. The remaining 4 of the 8 ways, as named by Andreasen, will be discussed by my co-member as another topic, so I also recommend that you go through them as well. The first common way is statistical surveillance. This refers to the realization of a social problem through statistics, trends, and detailed analysis of data. Organizations conduct censuses to spot potential problem or monitor a pattern that may worsen. Statistics and numbers are often used to measure the things around us, and it is also used by organizations and even the government to gain an insight on the realities affecting the public. For example, the HIV, AIDS, and ART Registry of the Philippines, or also called as HARP, released a report last February 2018 saying that there are 871 reported new cases of HIV in the Philippines. From the statistics released by HARP, organizations and public are being informed on the realities that are happening around us. We are being presented with the reality that HIV is indeed a worsening problem in the Philippines, and it definitely needs our attention. The good thing with these statistics is that it also provides details that can help organizations in addressing a problem. For example, in the same report, it also includes demographics like age range and localized areas where there is a high concentration of HIV cases. This data can provide us with clues on how to start and where to focus immediate actions of addressing the problem. The second common way is the special one-time quantitative studies. Similar with statistical surveillance, special one-time quantitative studies also use objective data to study an area of interest. But unlike with the surveillance that are often done regularly, this is usually conducted one time or studied on as needed basis. One example is the potential social problems that can be extracted from the paper of Joel B. Tan from University of Mindanao. The paper aims to find out the effectiveness of continuing professional development, or CPD, to the advancement of public accountants in Davao. The results show that CPD has substantial effect in enhancing the career and financial growth of professionals, but has negligible effect in widening the professional network and enhancing personal competencies. Overall, CPD was found out to have negligible impact to professional accountants. This specialized study can then be used to identify potential social problems like the possible inefficiencies and loopholes of the CPD implementation or its policies, or the inaccurate equivalence of CPD units, and so on. Moving on with the third common way is the special non-quantitative studies. This refers to the realization of a social problem through conversations, observations, or anecdotal data. Non-quantitative observations may be backed up with quantitative data to stress out the details of the problem or to highlight its impact. One example where non-quantitative study was used in realizing a social problem is the development of Tahanang Walang Hagdan. In 1965, Sister Maria Paula Valeriana Bertz of the Missionary Sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary was assigned to the Philippines to work in Philippine Orthopedic Center. Throughout her service, she met several persons with disability and witnessed their miserable conditions and how most of them were abandoned by their own families. She realized that her mission in life is to help in improving their lives, and currently, Tahanang Walang Hagdan is providing therapies and vocational trainings to persons with disability. Analyzing this from a communications perspective, we can say that the personal encounters and observations by Sister Birds brought her to the realization of a social problem on the lack of support group and training opportunities for persons with disabilities. For the fourth common way is the individual insight or argumentation. This is the realization of a social problem when a situation has been analyzed from a different perspective, reframed, and brought up by an individual. It is common for people to have varying opinions and insights, and because of this, one person might see no problem against a certain event, while another person might see a problem with it. When an individual sees a problem that others can't, the person often tries to present the thing in a different angle, allowing fresh perspectives to be seen by other people. Okay, so we have now discussed 4 out of the 8 common ways on the emergence of social problem to the public as mentioned by Andreasen in his book. And as I also mentioned earlier, the remaining 4 will be covered by my co-member as a separate topic, and I highly suggest that you go through them as well after this one. But before we end this topic, let me give you some thoughts to ponder about the topics that we have discussed. So by now, you should already have an idea about some theories on social problems and some common ways for these problems to emerge to the public. Let us have an activity on the emergence of social problems. For our activity, let us use the incident between Joey De Leon and Maine Mendoza about depression. To give you a background on this one, in an October 5, 2017 episode of the noontime show Eat Bulaga, Joey De Leon and Maine Mendoza had opposing views about depression. In the One for All for One segment of the show, the mother of the winning contestant was revealed to have been diagnosed with depression. De Leon claimed that depression is gawa-gawa lang or made up by people suffering from it, while Mendoza claimed that people with depression needs medical help and our support. Building on top of our slide about individual insight and argumentation, this is a clear example where an area of concern has different angles. One view angles depression as a social problem, while the other view angles depression as not a social problem. What do you think are the dangers of relying only on individual insights and argumentation when trying to put a concern as a social problem? So for this one, I will be giving you a brief time. We will pause for a moment to give you some time to linger on this thought. Okay, so I hope that you are done with question 1 and let us proceed with question 2. For argument's sake, let us say that one opposing side has already been convinced by the other side with their arguments. Let us say that the opposing view that depression is made up has been eliminated in the scenario. So with this one, how can we say that a private family's misfortune of having a member with depression is a social problem and not a private family problem? So again, we will pause briefly for this one for all of us to linger on this idea. That would be all for our discussion, and I would also like to thank all of you for attending this discussion. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank some of my references in compiling this report. And I will also be putting the links and references in the description box below.